Welcome back to How to Literally, the channel where we keep things smart and simple and scam-free. Today, we are going to take a really close look at Juro, which is one of the rising names in the contract lifecycle management space, also known as CLM software. If you have ever found yourself juggling multiple tools to handle contracts like drafting in Word, sending over email for review, switching to DocuSign for signatures, and then uploading to Google Drive or Dropbox for storage, you already know how chaotic and fragmented that process can be. Juro's big promise is to eliminate that chaos by bringing everything: drafting, collaboration, approval, signature, and even post-signature management into a single unified workspace. Now, a lot of software companies make bold claims about efficiency and end-to-end coverage, so we wanted to test this ourselves. We actually spent time using Juro, working through its features, setting up templates, experimenting with collaboration tools, and running through both the pre-signature and post-signature stages of contract management. The big question we wanted to answer is, does Juro really deliver on its promise, or is it just another platform with fancy marketing? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about what Juro is at its core. Juro positions itself as an all-in-one CLM platform designed to streamline the entire lifecycle of contracts. That means instead of moving between 5 different platforms, you live inside Juro. You draft directly in the browser. You share with stakeholders in real time. You negotiate and redline in the same workspace. You get contracts signed with Juro's built-in eSignature feature, and once they've executed, they don't just disappear into a forgotten folder. They stay in Juro's searchable repository complete with reminders for key dates. The vision here is to give companies a single source of truth for contracts, making them more collaborative, accessible, and trackable. Now let's move into the user experience. Because software that's powerful but painful to use is basically useless, one of the strongest first impressions we had with Juro was its interface. Unlike many legal tools that feel outdated, heavy, and clunky, Juro has a sleek, modern, almost Google Docs-like design. Drafting contracts doesn't feel intimidating. Even non-legal professionals, salespeople, HR reps, finance managers can navigate it comfortably. When we tested creating a new contract, everything felt familiar. Typing into the editor, formatting clauses, adding bullet points, and embedding smart fields. It didn't feel like legal software. It felt like a productivity tool that legal teams could use without alienating the rest of the company. That's a huge deal, because CLM software often fails not on functionality but on adoption. If sales team or HR teams find it too complex, they'll revert to email and Word. With Juro, adoption feels much easier because the barrier is low. The collaboration features reinforce its point. Instead of emailing contracts back and forth with endless attachments, Juro allows multiple stakeholders to comment directly in the document, much like Google Docs or Notion. You can tag colleagues, suggest edits, and track negotiation history. This is one of the features that really stood out in our testing. It creates transparency, eliminates version control issues, and ensures that everyone is literally on the same page. Now let's talk about templates and smart fields, because this is where legal efficiency really comes into play. Juro lets you set up reusable templates that include dynamic fields. For example, if you're constantly sending NDAs, employment contracts, or sales agreements, you don't need to redraft every time. You build a template once, insert smart fields like company name, contract start date, or payment amount, and when you generate a new contract, you just fill in those fields. The system automatically updates every occurrence in the contract. In practice, this drastically reduces errors and speeds up the process. Instead of retyping a client's name 10 times, Juro ensures consistency automatically. For teams that handle high-volume contracting, that is a game changer. Execution is another critical step. Juro includes native e-signatures, so you don't need to export the DocuSign or Adobe Sign. During testing, we found this to be smooth and straightforward. You invite signers, assign fields, send out reminders, and once the document is signed, it's instantly stored in the contract dashboard. That seamless integration of drafting, negotiating, and signing in one place really underscores Juro's end-to-end value proposition. You don't break the flow, and that's what makes the experience much stronger compared to cobbling together multiple different tools. But the story doesn't end at signature. A lot of companies underestimate how important post-signature management is. Juro addresses this with a centralized contract repository. Every agreement you execute is stored in Juro. searchable by metadata like counterparties, start dates, renewal deadlines, or contract date. For teams managing hundreds of agreements, this prevents contracts from disappearing into forgotten folders. We also appreciated the alerts and reminders features, which notifies you about upcoming expirations or renewals. Imagine never again being blindsided by an automatically renewing vendor contract just because no one tracked the renewal date. That's exactly the problem Juro solves. Now let's talk about integrations. Because contracts don't live in isolation, Juro integrates with tools like Slack, Salesforce, Greenhouse, and Google Drive. For example, sales teams working in Salesforce can generate contracts without leaving the CRM. HR teams using Greenhouse can issue employment contracts directly from the recruiting system. This is where Juro really embeds itself into company workflows. It reduces context switching and it ensures that legal processes don't become bottlenecks. So, who is Juro for? And what about pricing? Juro doesn't always publish clear pricing on its website, since packages are usually tailored to company size and needs. What we can say is that it's not designed for freelancers or micro businesses. It's overkill at that scale. Where Juro shines is for scaling startups, mid-sized companies, and larger organizations that handle frequent contracts across departments. If your team deals with 10 or fewer contracts a month, you probably won't need something as robust as Juro. But if you're scaling and suddenly you have dozens or even hundreds of agreements, the cost of not having a system like Juro is much greater than the subscription itself. To balance this, let's look at the pros and cons we found. On the pro side, Juro is extremely user-friendly. It's genuinely end-to-end. It makes collaboration painless. Templates and smart fields save tons of time. And the integrations make it highly adaptable. On the con side, it may be too expensive for smaller businesses. The learning curve for advanced customization is real. You'll probably need onboarding support, and some features are clearly designed with enterprise in mind, not individuals. So final verdict. Is Juro worth it? Based on our testing, if you are part of a growing team or company that wants to streamline contracting across legal, sales, HR, and operations, the answer is yes. Juro delivers on its promise of unifying the contract lifecycle into one platform. It won't be the right fit for very small businesses or solo entrepreneurs, but for scaling teams that need collaboration, transparency, and efficiency, Juro is one of the strongest CLM options on the market right now. And that wraps up our in-depth review of Juro. Thanks for joining us here on How to Literally, where we keep things smart and simple and scam-free. If you've tried Juro or are using another CLM tool, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more reviews and deep dives just like this one.